Good morning. Hope you're having a great week. It is Tuesday, July 25th, 6:41 a.m. Central Daylight Time, local time here in Oklahoma. I just left the Walmart distribution center in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. I'm on I-35 southbound. I'm headed to the Walmart distribution center in Sanger, Texas. This is day 2 of the Walmart contract. And so far, I don't like the Walmart contract. So why do I not like the Walmart contract? Let's talk about it. First, before we talk about it, let me get around this guy. He's going like 1 mile per hour less than me. Oh, great. As soon as I start speeding up to pass, a four-wheeler jumps out from behind me and gets alongside me and slows down alongside me. Great. They saw that I was about to pass, so they sped up and got alongside me so I couldn't get out, and then they slowed down. Four-wheelers do this shit all the time. This is the great thing about being in a truck that's not governed. Well, I am governed. I'm governed at 86. But this is the great thing about being in a basically ungoverned truck is that you don't slow pass people. You don't sit there in the left lane for 30 minutes passing people. I mean, if you have the maturity to not drive like an idiot, then in my opinion, ungoverned trucks are much safer than governed trucks. Because in these governed trucks, you get in these snail races and people start road raging, and it's 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 just really dangerous. Anyway, that's a whole other video talking about that topic. So let's get back to Walmart. So we knew going into the Walmart contract that the pay was crap. The pay is like really bad. The rate per mile that they pay is really good for the current market. But you don't get paid the rate per mile. You get paid the daily rate, the guaranteed pay, the minimum pay. Because the mileage is so low on everything you do. You're not a local pickup and delivery driver. I don't know what the exact trucking term is for the type of runs that we do, but we're basically, I think UPS calls it a feeder position, where you're basically just running out of a hub and just moving trailers between hubs and between stores, locations, and stuff like that. That's basically all I'm doing is like I'll take a preloaded trailer from a distribution center to a store, do a drop and hook, and then drive over to a vendor 5 or 10 miles away, grab a load, take that to a distribution center, do a drop and hook at the distribution center. Just a second here. Look at all these white pickup trucks. Um, you'll do a drop and hook there and take a load to either a store or a distribution center. And you just keep doing that over and over again, going between distribution centers, stores, and vendors. And you generally, so far, the loads that I've been doing haven't been over like 60 or 70 miles. I think Fort Worth to Pauls Valley, Oklahoma is the longest load that I've done so far. And it was, I don't know, I can't remember what the distance is on that. I'm thinking it's like 110 or 120 miles or something like that. The load that I'm on right now is like 95 miles from Paul's Valley Distribution Center to Sanger Distribution Center. And like, I'm kind of concerned about this load because like, I'm not sure if they're having me come back to the DC because I did something wrong and they're gonna like get rid of me or something, or if the dispatcher just got frustrated because they couldn't find a load for me, or I don't know what's going on, but it I don't know what's normal, but this is day 2 and I'm hauling a load without a trip plan. And I'm going to have to ask them whenever I get to Sanger like how I'm supposed to log this load because I don't this load is not documented anywhere. They just like told me to grab an empty and take it to Sanger. And I was like, do I get a trip for it or do I get like is there any documentation I get for it at all? And they're like, nope, just grab an empty and go to Sanger. And I was like, okay. I mean, it just seemed like I don't know. Maybe there's nothing of it. I tend to be a little. I lean toward pessimistic when I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what's normal. So I'm thinking like I did something wrong, and they're wanting me to get back to Sanger to terminate the contract or something. I don't know, but who knows? Maybe I get there and they didn't have any loads for me to take out of Paul's Valley, and they didn't really know what to do with me, so they just told me to, come down to Sanger while they figure it out. So let's talk about what I did yesterday and why this contract sucks. Now, when I say the pay sucks on this contract, this is one of the best things that I could find in the current market. The pay is low, but it's consistent. And that consistency means a lot. If you're only running the really good paying loads, but they're inconsistent, you're only getting like one a week or one every couple of weeks, then you're hauling some really trash loads in between those good loads, and that brings your average way down. With this load, you're consistently running like mediocre. So, as far as the pay goes, even though it's bad, it's still pretty good for the current market. And for anybody who didn't watch the video about the pay, um, let's not even talk about the rate per mile because we don't run at rate per mile because we have to run like over 1,600 miles a week to be able to get the rate per mile, and I'm not getting anywhere close to that. I'm getting like 250 miles a day, if that. Yesterday I did like 221 miles. So the pay, Walmart is paying Landstar $4,500. And I'm getting 75% of the line haul and 100% of the fuel surcharge. The way it breaks down is it's $4,000 line haul, $500 fuel surcharge, which comes out to $3,500 to the truck per week. You break that down to a daily rate, and that is $700 per day to the truck. So yeah, I broke the numbers down in a spreadsheet, and when you look at the numbers, I can make a living off of this load. I can thrive on this load because my business is set up to thrive in bad markets. But most owner operators would be running break even. And what I mean by break even is that they would only make enough money on this run to pay their business expenses and pay themselves, and they wouldn't have enough money to set aside for unexpected expenses. And you always have unexpected expenses in this industry. So if you don't have any money to set aside for unexpected expenses, you're eventually going to go out of business. So now that we've got the pay, talked about, there's more details about the pay in previous videos if you're really interested in the fine details of the pay. So what did I do yesterday? I got there at 7 a.m. to the Walmart DC in Sanger for an 8 a.m. appointment for orientation. And I just went into sleeper while I waited for the appointment. And I noticed all the Landstar drivers were going into the building. So I was like, I better go in the building and see what's going on. I was going to wait until 8 a.m. or 7:45 to go in, but I went ahead and went in at 7:30 a.m. And it's a good thing I did because prior to the orientation, what they do is if you're new, they have to get you in the system. So they process you and get information from you and create a profile for you and give you a driver ID number and stuff like that. So I didn't know any of that. I went inside. I sat down across from another Landstar driver, and we got to chatting. And I let him know that I was here for orientation first day, and he was like, "Have you checked in?" I was like, "No, I didn't. I was just waiting for orientation to start at 8 a.m." And he said, "Oh, go check in." So I did, and they got the paperwork started on processing me. And then at 8 a.m., somebody walked into the break room area and was like, "Who is here for orientation? Who are all my first time people?" And we all raised our hands. There were, I think, 5 of us. And we went into a room and watched a video. And then after the video, he went through a couple of things. Second, we got somebody on the shoulder up here. Got a pickup truck about 500 feet behind me. Is that Everett? Yeah, it looks like Everett on the shoulder there. If I have plenty of room, then I move over. I always move over. If it looks like an abandoned vehicle, then nah. But if there's definitely somebody at the truck or the car or whatever, I always try to move over if I have room to do it. And I definitely move over if there's like somebody standing on the fog line or the doors open or some crap like that. But anyway, all there were a couple of drivers. Well, there was one person, one I don't even. Yeah, it was another Landstar driver. Um, Not everyone in there was a Landstar driver. I think there was almost everyone in there was a Landstar driver. I think there was one other company that wasn't Landstar, and I can't remember the name of it. There might have been one or two drivers that weren't Landstar. But we had so many questions. I think our orientation might have gone a little bit longer than it should have. And there was a lot of confusion about what the exact policies and procedures were. I got several different answers on when I'm supposed to do my calls. Like, they want you to call in to give status updates all the time. And I, I'm pretty sure in the video it said to call whenever you arrive and call whenever you leave. And the person uh, that was telling us how to do the paperwork, she told us to only call when we depart a place. And then yesterday, when I tried to get a new trip, they couldn't give me a new trip because I hadn't finalized my previous trip. So, like, there's all kinds of stuff that I'm learning. So basically, I need to call whenever I leave places and whenever I arrive at the end of my trip at the distribution center, I need to call and close out the trip before I go into the dispatch office because they can't dispatch me a new load until it's closed out. The previous one's closed out. So, yeah, it's a learning process with a lot of things. There was quite a bit of information to take in, tons and tons and tons of Walmart policies and procedures, and we don't get access. Like, we're treated like Walmart drivers. We go through the Walmart lane and stuff like that, checking in at distribution centers and leaving distribution centers. But, like, we don't get to hang out on Walmart property and take 10. We have to leave the property to take a break and stuff like that. And we don't get to use their showers or anything. So basically, we just get to use the Walmart lane going in and out, and we get access to their break room, and that's it. And they basically have to give us access to the break room because the break room is where most of their dispatch offices are at. So it was around, I want to say 10:30 a.m. that I finally got my trip plan. And while I was trying to figure everything out and program my GPS and all that stuff, one of the Landstar drivers that was in orientation came over to my truck and wanted to talk. and he sat there and talked to me for a half an hour. And I finally had to tell him, I was like, man, I need to, do this paperwork and figure this stuff out. And I'm glad that I did cut him off because he would have talked forever. And I noticed on my paperwork when I got back in the truck that it said must depart by 11:20. And by this time it was already 11 a.m. That guy had just had me sit there outside talking to him for 30 minutes. So then I was in a big rush to get out off the property by 11:20. And I took a preloaded trailer to a super center in Fort Worth, did a drop and hook there, took the empty over to a bottled water warehouse. I don't think it was a factory. I don't think they actually made the bottled water there. I think it was a warehouse where they distributed it. And picked up a preloaded trailer there and took that to Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, the distribution center I was just at. Let me give you the mileages. I want to say the mileage from the distribution center in Sanger to the super center in Fort Worth was like 60 miles, and then 10 miles over to the water place, and then like I don't know 120 miles from that water place in Fort Worth up to Pauls Valley distribution center. And then that was the end of my first trip. So then I went into the dispatch office in Sanger to get my next trip, and I was running up against my 14-hour clock. I had like 2.5 hours of drive time left, but I was running up against my 14 because all the time I spent in orientation from like 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So sorry, there's traffic coming around me, and we're going by some on and off ramps. I always got to make sure I know what the left lane's like whenever we're coming up to an on ramp in case I need to get over. So they looked at the loads in the dispatch office for a minute or two, and then they told me that they couldn't dispatch me until I closed out that other load. And I was like, all right, I'll call them and close it out, and I'll come back. And he was like, you know what, just take your break and come back in the morning. Uh, and I was like, what time in the morning? And he was like, 6 or 7 is whenever would be a good time to get loads. I was like, all right. So I went over to the Loves across the street, took a 10, and then came back in and checked in this morning. And I sat there for quite a while, about a half an hour, waiting on them to find me something to do. And then they finally just told me to grab an empty and go down to Sanger. And they didn't give me any trip plan or paperwork or anything for it. So I don't know how to log it to get paid for the mileage, because you have to have it on a trip plan to get paid for the mileage. I'm going to ask them that in the dispatch office when I get down here. And I told you earlier that I was concerned that maybe I did something wrong and they're having me go back to Sanger to like tell me to, park the trailer and go home. They don't want me. I can't think of anything I've done wrong. I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't know how to do properly, but I can't think of anything I've done wrong yet. And there was another Walmart driver grabbing an empty while I was grabbing an empty. So maybe they just didn't have any loads coming out of that place, out of Paul's Valley. And they were having us all grab empties and go down to Sanger to get dispatched. Who knows? But what makes it so bad is not just the short little mileage, and it's all driving around in Dallas, Fort Worth, a lot of Dallas, Fort Worth. It's not just that city driving, it's daytime driving, it's not a lot of driving, it's a lot of it's a lot of activities outside of the truck, and it's really, really hot outside. I was just sweating all day long yesterday because I would drive for an hour and then I would spend like 15 minutes, 20 minutes doing a drop and hook. And then I would go over to the water place and I had to sweep out the damn trailer because it was filthy. So I was drenched in sweat getting into the back of the trailer in this heat. And then there was a huge line to get into the place. There was a bunch of drama with the line because some star driver cut in front of everybody and blocked the road. Basically, the Landstar driver in front of me that was on the Walmart account stopped short enough to allow traffic to go back and forth down the road. And some dumbass Star driver jumped into that space that the Landstar driver left open for traffic to move and cut in front of like 4 trucks. But they actually asked all the Walmart drivers to bypass the line and drive around the building because we were all doing drop and hooks and everybody else is doing live. So they wanted us to just drive around the building and do our drop and hooks. But we couldn't get around the building because that dumbass. So an employee was actually giving somebody's paperwork to somebody and overheard me and the other Landstar driver talking about what we were going to do to get around the building. And he said, that guy cut in front of everybody, the one blocking the road there. And we were like, yeah, and the dispatch just told us to drive around the building and bypass the line, and we can't get around him. And he went over there and told that guy to get the hell out of the way and get at the back of the line. The guy was like, I didn't know there was a line. Drama, just tons of drama. It's like that like every day in this industry. There are lots of precious little snowflakes in the world that think they're more important than everybody else. And they drive aggressively, they cut in line. They just assholes out here. But we got him out of the way. He didn't know how to back for shit, so I had to sit there and walk him on the back to get him backed out so that we could go around him. And when I was doing the drop and hook, the Walmart trailer was really high and it was 42,000 pounds. And for anybody who doesn't know, I'm fat. I weigh 300 pounds. I don't do manual labor. I'm not, there was a point in my life where I was in really great shape, but I've let myself go over the last few years And I can't do manual labor. I get worn out really quick. Like I get worn out taking a shower. That's how out of shape I am. And I was out there trying to lower this landing gear, 105 degrees outside, 300 pounds. When you're fat like me, it's like wearing a coat year round. Like I'm comfortable in temperatures of around 55 to 60 degrees because it's like wearing a coat. Imagine wearing a coat in 105-degree temperatures. That's what it's like being fat and being outside in 105-degree temperatures. And then throw in like some heavy lifting, because whenever you're cranking on a landing gear, trying to lower it on a really heavy trailer that weighs like 42,000 pounds. Just a second here. Got somebody slow passing me, and I'm going to slow down and let them around me because they're clogging up traffic. Amazon. Amazon container. I don't think I've ever seen an Amazon container. I've seen Amazon trucks hauling containers, but it looks like Amazon might be getting into the container business. Maybe they've been in it and I just haven't noticed. I don't know why people do the snail races, sit there and just stay on their cruise control while somebody going 1 mile per hour faster than them, you know, slowly passes them and blocks traffic for 15, 20 minutes. If I catch somebody passing me that's just creeping along like 1 mile per hour faster than me, I'll back out of it by like 5 mile per hour and let them around me. And it takes them like 5 or 10 seconds to pass instead of like 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know why people just set on their damn. And that's one of the reasons I think it's really good to not have people governed at low speeds, is because if that Amazon driver wasn't governed at a low speed, they could easily just speed up by 2 or 3 miles per hour and pass me relatively quickly rather than snail racing by me for 15 minutes. Anyway, but yeah, out there with that landing gear, I had to stop 4 times and get back into the truck and try to cool off and rehydrate. It took me like 5 to 10 minutes every time. And like the very first time I was out there with the, doing the landing gear, I was out there the longest, like 30 seconds, cranking on the landing gear. And I had to put it in low gear. I tried to move it in high gear, and I shouldn't have done that because I wore myself out trying to move it in high gear. And I might have been able to move it in high gear, but I was a I was having to exert so much force onto the landing gear handle. I was afraid I was going to snap the landing gear handle off. I wasn't willing to, put any more force on it. So I had to, after wearing myself out, yanking on in high gear, then I switched over into low gear, and I spent a total of about 30 seconds, and then I was just started like hyperventilating and getting, just a second here, somebody speeding up the on ramp, racing to get in front of me. Um, my head started spinning, started seeing spots, started feeling like I was going to pass out. So I got into the truck and tried to cool off and drink some fluids. And like, I'm sure that I was quite the sight to see because I was having such trouble breathing that like I had my head leaned way back, my mouth was wide open, and I like had my hand on my chest. I grabbed a couple of cans of soda and I was putting them up against my neck on my carotid artery, trying to cool myself off. And the yard dog is driving back and forth watching all this, and it was finally on like my fourth attempt, I was able to get the landing gear up. And I got back in the truck and, was wiping myself down, getting all the sweat off and trying to cool off and rehydrate. And the yard dog that saw this whole thing play out drove by me laughing his ass off, waving at me. It's just like, oh my God, man, I'm dying out here. I just talked with another driver this morning about that, and he was like, yeah, almost every Walmart trailer you hook up to is high. He said, I think I think their fifth wheels are set up really high. I was like, awesome. That's going to be fun in this 105-degree temperature. Every load that I've hauled so far has been a 40,000-pound load. My first one was 39 something, and my second one was 42. And they told us in orientation that you don't typically haul heavy loads. He said about the heaviest loads you're going to haul are about 40,000 pounds, and you don't generally haul those heavy loads unless you're going to a Sam's Club. Well, I haven't gone to a Sam's Club yet, and I've hauled 39 something and 42. So, yeah, they're giving us the really heavy shit. And yeah, getting out doing these dropping hooks and having to constantly go in and check in with dispatch offices, and almost none of these places are air conditioned. So you're standing there, 105-degree temperature for like, what the fuck? The box truck behind me just keeps like dipping over to the shoulder. There's a big truck, a couple of cars behind them, and a box truck directly behind me. The big truck and the cars are in the left lane passing. Well, you couldn't see that cop till the last damn second. And I couldn't see shit with this truck in front of me. And I had a pickup truck alongside of me, so I had to hit my brakes to dip in behind him. And that box truck is riding my ass. So what were we talking about? Yeah, it's just a lot of standing outside or in, you know, places that are not climate controlled. So it's a lot of standing out in 105-degree temperatures or doing work in 105-degree temperatures. So far, like yesterday, I got worn out yesterday, and I was sweating so bad. And the Love's truck stop, I still had a shower credit from Love's for when I filled up last week. So I was like, awesome, there's a Love's right here at the distribution center. I'm going to go use that shower credit before it expires. I went in there, Love's tricked me. I checked on the app and it said there was no one in line and there were 5 showers available. And I was like, awesome. I put my shower bag together and got out of the truck, started walking toward the Love's, and pulled up the app and checked in for a shower. And it told me that I was number 3 in line. I was like, what the hell? It just told me that there were 5 showers available and nobody was in line. So then I had to go into the store and sit there and wait. I wouldn't have even started walking to the store if I was, there was a line. I would just waited in my truck. But I was like, well, shit, I'm almost all the way to the store now. Let's just go ahead and go in the store and wait. And the air conditioner was out in the store. And one of the employees in the store said that it was 94 degrees inside the store. It's just like, man, like the world is shitting on me today. So I sat there for like 30 minutes waiting in line for a shower. Oh, it was just is horrible. Horrible. Got the shower, went back to the truck. Man, I was so exhausted. I wasn't even hungry. I mean, if every day is like yesterday, I'm going to lose a lot of weight, which is, that's a good thing. It'd be a good thing if I lost a lot of weight. But like I was sweating so much yesterday and so exhausted, like I wasn't hungry all day. I think the only thing I ate yesterday was 2 things of yogurt. One of those standard size yogurt package things. I brought a whole bunch of yogurt with me. So I ate 2 of those things of yogurt. And other than that, all day yesterday was just liquids. And then today, I haven't eaten anything today. So who knows, man? Maybe this will be good for my, weight loss doing this account. The account sucks. It's horrible, but nothing has been bad enough yet that I'm not going to do the account going forward. Just a second here. There's nobody in the left lane behind this truck, so I'm not going to slow down. We're about to top the hill, and then they'll speed back up, fly by me. They're not blocking any traffic. There they go. I'm empty, and they've got some weight on them, so they slowed down going up that tiny little hill. Man, they have a set of tires that is just wobbling really bad. That front axle on their 2 rear axles, their rear tandems, the front axle on that rear tandem is wobbling, both sides of it. All 4 tires are wobbling left and right really bad. I've never seen tires do that. What is that? What causes that? Is that like a bent axle or something? No idea. I don't know a whole lot about the mechanics of these trucks. Oh, speaking of the mechanics of these trucks, I don't think I've ever hauled a trailer with disc brakes until I started hauling Walmart. I don't know if all of their trailers have disc brakes, but the ones I've hauled so far have had disc brakes. I've never Never pulled a trailer with disc brakes before. What's awesome about disc brakes is that I don't have a whole lot of requirements on me to inspect disc brakes. Disc brakes can only be properly inspected by a mechanic. So it's not like the drum brakes where I have to get in there and look and see how thick the pads are and shit like that. I think I'm going to keep rambling until we get to Sanger. And we're still 40 minutes away. And I think we've already been going for 40 minutes. Don't worry, I'll figure out stuff to talk about. Second here, I'm catching up with his DCS. I've still got that box truck riding my ass. And there's a pickup truck. I'm going to wait till the pickup truck passes me. And then I'm going to speed up and go around DCS. The pickup truck's not going too fast. I don't think I've even talked about how fast I'm going. I'll tell you in a second. So my cruise is set at 65. JB Hunt. I don't know what the DCS stands for on the back of the trailer. So I've got my cruise set at 65. I sped up to 71 to get around that truck faster so I wouldn't be blocking traffic, snail racing. Now we're letting it drop back down to the cruise speed of 65. The speed limit out here is 75 miles per hour. So I'm going quite a bit under the speed limit. That's just a speed that I feel comfortable with. The miles per gallon are good at 65, and I'm not in a rush. If I'm in a rush, yeah, I'll go faster, but I burn a lot more fuel going faster, and I don't like passing people. If I speed up to 70 or higher, then I'll start catching up with all the 65 mile per hour trucks. I'm constantly going to be passing people. I don't like doing that. When I've got my cruise set at 65, I rarely pass people. It's a real chill experience driving, and I get good miles per gallon. So win-win. And right now on this Walmart contract, I'm basically getting paid by the hour. So there's no incentive for me to rush on these loads. But even when I'm not on a contract like this, when I'm on a regular load, second here, this pickup is racing to get in front of me, and all she's doing is she's managing to get right alongside me. Dumbasses. People they're terrible at judging speed. When they're flying up the on-ramp, they think that they're going really fast, but they're not going anywhere close to as fast as the traffic on the interstate. And whenever they try to race to get in front of people, they usually just manage to get right alongside them. I don't like getting out in that left lane when I'm going 10 miles per hour under the speed limit, so I just hit the brakes and slowed down to let her in front of me. I think I got the camera pointed up a little bit too high. I'll mess with that later. I'm not going to mess with it while I'm driving down the road. But I'll see if I can't get it pointed more downward. Hopefully it's not focused on a bug on the windshield. I can't tell very well what the video looks like, but it looks like it's focused on the road. There's the Oklahoma way station. We don't have very far left in Oklahoma. We're about to cross into Texas. There's mile marker 13. We got 13 miles until Texas, and I'm starting to get thirsty. Grab a soda out of my cooler. I keep a cooler. For anybody who doesn't know my refrigerator setup, I have two Alpi-Cool refrigerator freezers. You can program the temperature anywhere from -4 up to like 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can set it up as a freezer or a refrigerator or a cooler, whatever you want. Whatever temperature you need, you can program it in. These things are amazing. I highly recommend you don't waste your money on one of those thermoelectric coolers that cost like 150 bucks. They're cheap. They don't last very long. They don't perform very well. These Alpi-Cools that I bought one and I loved it. And I had that Alpi-Cool that I was using as a freezer, and I had one of those gray, I don't know what brand it is, Igloo or what's that one that starts with a C? I can't remember. The camping supply one. You probably know what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm taking a drink of my Coleman. I think that's it. I think that Coleman that you buy at all the truck stops is the one that I had. I went through like 3 of those things. They wouldn't last more than maybe 6 months. And finally, I was just like, I, you know, instead of buying a new one of these Colemans every 6 months, let's just buy a second Alpi-Cool and program it as a refrigerator. And I am so glad that I did that. These Alpi-Cools are not cheap. They're like $350, $400 a piece, something like that. I can't remember. But they are amazing. I haven't had any issues with them. And I've had the one that I've had the longest, I've had it for I don't know how long, 2 or 3 years. And that's the one I use as my freezer. I have it set at -4 degrees Fahrenheit. So my freezer, I have that one strapped into the passenger seat. It sits in the passenger seat, and I have a strap around it to keep it in place. And then the other one sits on the floor in between the two seats. And that's the one that I keep my sodas in. That way I can just lean over, pop it open, and grab a soda. I don't have to look or anything. It's just like right there. I can keep my eye on the road, and just pop it open and grab a soda out of it. I have it programmed at 36 degrees for the refrigerator. Oh my goodness. Chilled, like ice cold sodas. You know, at the beginning of the week, I was kind of hoping that I would get to a distribution center where I'd be able to get some big mileage runs. They said the Plainview, Texas distribution center is the only one around here where you get big mileage runs because there's nothing around Plainview. But at this point, for me to make it over to Plainview, by the time I got over there, I would be in a position where even if I got a couple of big mileage runs, my weekly total wouldn't be enough for me to go off of the miles. I'd still be getting the contract minimum. So in order for me to work off the miles, I would basically probably have to work out of the Plainview terminal or distribution center. So for anybody that's looking for a job right now, I'll go ahead and pass the news along. The guy who did our orientation class was another driver. He was a Walmart driver, had been with the company for 28 years. If I remember correctly, he said 28 years. And he said that he's still a driver. He just occasionally comes in and trains classes or trains new hires and, stuff like that. But he's still a driver. And he said that management's not allowed to make a sales pitch, but he said that he's not under any rules like management is. So he made a sales pitch during our orientation that they are hiring 70 drivers at the Sanger Distribution Center. 70. They have 70 driver positions they're hiring for at the Sanger Distribution Center for Walmart. He said he wasn't sure about what the requirements are. You'd have to go check their website, Drive for Walmart or whatever it is. But he said that he thinks that they've lowered the standards. Like used to, you had to have a minimum of like 2 or 3 years experience. Just a second here. There's somebody driving down the shoulder. Used to, you had to have like 2 or 3 years of experience. And you had to have a perfect driving record. And he said that he thinks they got rid of the perfect driving record part, and you can have like something on your record now. But he thinks you still have to have like 2 years experience. So if you're interested, just a heads up, I don't have any driver code for a referral or anything like that. He gave us his name to put down as a referral, and he said that he would get a kickback if we used him as a referral, but I can't remember his name. I didn't bother writing it down or anything because I'm not going to apply for Walmart. I thought it was kind of funny for him to be making a sales pitch to a bunch of owner operators to become employees. That's People don't generally transition from business owner back to employee. Once you've been a business owner, it's hard to become an employee again. But, he didn't know who all was in the class, and there could have been company drivers that were just contracted. Um, so he was just making the pitch to the class. But yeah, it's 70 drivers. That's crazy because Walmart is considered one of the best trucking companies to be an employee at. Their pay is, up there. In general, the I don't think I'm going to bother getting into that right lane. That right lane lasts like 3 or 4 miles, and it's just for this casino stuff. They got this widened out. all this nice road and everything here is all for this little casino. Oklahoma has little casino towns on the border of Texas at every major highway or interstate that goes from Texas into Oklahoma. And people from Texas come up into these little casino towns like crazy. Like there's just tons of people from that come up from Texas to gamble at these casinos. What were we talking about before I got distracted about the lane? Second here. I forgot what we were talking about. All right, looks like that lane's already ending. And there she goes. One mile to the Texas border. Somebody on the shoulder. Looks like the hood's up on the car. They're way, way over in the grass. And I see a sticker on it. Abandoned vehicle. Red River. Here we go. We're going into Texas. It's happening. Oh my goodness. The river looks like it's dried up quite a bit. And there were two pickup trucks that were like in the mud. You know, it's really a red river. It's like clay. So there was just this red mud down where the river had dried up. And there were a couple of trucks right next to each other that were buried several feet into the mud. I don't know if they were trying to drive around in the mud and got stuck, or like they crashed into the river and the river dried up and exposed them. We got 23 miles left until the distribution center. And I'm sorry if I was in the middle of saying something before I got distracted a minute ago. That's one of the things that makes it hard about doing videos while I'm driving, is that my focus is on driving and everything that's happening around me, and I keep losing track of what I'm talking about. It's hard for me to stay on topic while I'm driving. And I'm also thinking in the back of my head, like everything I need to do to track this load to get, make sure I get paid for it, because they didn't give me any damn paperwork on it. I don't know if I'm supposed to add it to my other load. I was told that my last load has already been closed out, but they may be able to open it back up and add to that load. Or we we put it on some other kind of paperwork I'm unaware of, or We put it on my next load. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask them when we get into the dispatch office. I wrote down all the information we need. They have you track a lot of information on these trip sheets. Every stop that you make, you have to put down your odometer reading, the time you get there, the time you leave, what you're doing there. Is it a drop? Is it a hook? Is it a live load? I don't I don't know, like I'm still kind of torn about doing this long term. Like if every day, because we're I'm thinking about doing this load for the rest of the year, working it like I'm an employee for the rest of the year, Monday through Friday with weekends off. And if every day was like yesterday, man, that's gonna be brutal. Ooh, that DOT. It's a DOT like not officer, but like construction person. They just threw their lights on. What in the hell are they doing? They're probably going to be turning into the median, and they threw their lights on because they're going to be making a turn into the median because they're out in that left lane trying to keep. There they are. Yep, they're driving off into the median. $19 miles. This has been a beautiful drive today. Another bad thing about yesterday was I-35 was just traffic was insane on I-35. Well, on Sunday, whenever I drove up here on Sunday, traffic was just bumper to bumper on I-35. There was like a 10-mile backup of stop and go traffic because of the construction going down a single lane. Yesterday, traffic was pretty bad on Monday, but Sunday was like really, really, really bad traffic. I don't know if there was some kind of sporting event that was going on Sunday or what the deal was with traffic. It was crazy. But traffic right now, this is like the nicest traffic that I've seen since I started this. And before I forget about it, just a heads up on the Love's truck stop in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, right across the interstate from the distribution center. Just a second. They have a short merge lane here because of the construction. They have a Burger King inside there. I didn't actually get anything at the Burger King. Oh, that box truck whipped out from around me to pass. Have they been like sitting behind me because they're governed at 65 and they just couldn't get around me? Is that what the deal was? Is that right? Why they've been tailgating me all this time? As soon as I tap my brakes to let these people on, they whipped out in that left lane and they're just like, I'm gonna slow down. I'm just letting it coast down to 60, trying to let this box truck around me. They should be going at least 5 miles an hour faster than me now. That's the box truck right there that's been tailgating me. We're going 59. Got to watch these on ramps because of this construction. They don't have like, they can't get up to speed, and they have a very short on ramp. So they're merging on slow on a really short on ramp. I wish that road construction didn't take several years. I wish it was something that, they could just do in a weekend or something. Because I'm sure this road is going to be really nice to drive on once they finish all the construction. But it seems like there's just a never ending construction going on the roadways. I'm just going to chill behind this slow box truck. And once we get out of the construction, maybe I'll go around this box truck. This box truck's going 60. There's a lot of traffic, and we're in narrow lanes with a lot of stuff going on with the construction. I do not like being this close behind somebody for lots of reasons. One of them is I can't see shit. I don't know what's going on in front of me. All right, I think I'm going to go around after these two cars pass. This son of a bitch sped up. I'm going 70 right now. And we're going almost the same speed. This jackass was going 60 miles an hour. And when I went out to pass, he sped up. I'm up to almost 75 to get around this jackass. And we're going almost the same speed. That pisses me off. When somebody sits there going like, he was bouncing between like 58 and 61 while I was behind him. And as soon as I go out to pass, he speeds up to like 70 miles an hour. Oh my God, that pisses me off. Well, we're going to set the cruise back down at 65 in front of him. And if he wants to keep going 70, he can go around me. There he goes. He whipped out into the damn left lane. I don't know what the fuck this idiot's problem is. Going 55, 60 miles an hour in front of me. Now he's back in front of me. Let's see how fast he goes now. Looks like he's going to keep going 70. I don't give a shit how fast somebody goes. I don't like playing leapfrog with people. I don't like people yo-yoing in front of me. Can't maintain their speed. I think what the problem is whenever they got on the interstate, they were probably playing on their damn phone and just pimp walking by doing like 60 miles an hour. And then when I went out to pass, they put the phone down and sped up to 70. And people do this kind of shit all day, every day. There's a lot of drama with this job. got 11 miles left until we get to the distribution center. We got a bunch of flashy lights up ahead, but they look like they're on maybe the service road. I don't know. It's in a turn, and it's hard to tell if it's on the shoulder of this road. Yeah, it looks like it's a tow truck on the shoulder of the exit up there. I got some cars catching up with me, and I'm not going to let them jam me in. So we're going to go ahead and move over. The door's open on whatever that is. There's somebody walking down the fog line. We're getting there. I'm really surprised these four-wheelers didn't jump over in the right lane and pass me whenever I got over in the left lane. But I try not to wait till the last second to move over for stuff like that on the shoulder, because the people behind me can't see shit. My trailer blocks almost their entire view. So if I wait till the last damn second to move over, the people behind me don't have enough time to react and move over. You know, one of the things I was concerned about with this Walmart contract was the people I was going to interact with. You know, I think I mentioned it in previous videos that the Hobby Lobby account, that was one of the negatives with the Hobby Lobby account, was that the Landstar agent was an asshole, and the Hobby Lobby planner was also an asshole. I did not like interacting with the people I had to interact with for the load. And, you know, I said that most of the people I've interacted with at Walmart in the past were really nice. Occasionally, I would run across somebody that just hated their life and hated their job, but that was pretty rare at Walmart. Most of the people I ran across were just like, you know, good old boys and good old girls. Not leaving the girls out, but just really nice people. Um, so I was concerned that maybe the people I would be interacting with on this dedicated might be the very small percentage of Walmart people that are not very nice. But that has not been my experience. Everyone that I've interacted with at Walmart's been awesome, super nice, super helpful. And all the Walmart people seem to be very familiar with these, you know, contract dedicated runs. And, you know, I haven't had any issues going through the Walmart lane. They recognize that I'm a contractor with Walmart, even when I'm not pulling a trailer. Um, so everybody's been really awesome. Take a swig of my soda. Another good thing I can say about the contract, I'm not sure if I mentioned it already, but their equipment is in really good condition. I think that they inspect the trailers before they load them at every distribution center. So I haven't encountered an issue with the trailer yet. My very first trailer I thought had an issue with the ABS light. I thought the ABS light was out, but it was really bright outside, so it was hard to see the ABS light. And most ABS lights, whenever they go through diagnostics, they stay on for 2 to 5 seconds. This one was only staying on for like 1 second. It was really hard to plug in the electric cord and get out far enough away from the trailer that I could see down the side of it to see if the light was on. I finally saw, like, I sat there and disconnected and reconnected the electrical line probably 10 times, and I was finally able to catch the ABS light on, and it was really fast. It was like 1 second that the ABS light came on. So yeah, it's really nice to not have to put equipment into the shop every time you hook up to a new trailer, which is what I typically have to do with Landstar. I haven't found any issues with any Walmart trailers so far. Embarrassingly, one of the Landstar drivers that was in orientation with me yesterday, I don't I don't know which one it was, but while I was sitting out there for like 30 minutes, just a second here. Is there an on-ramp coming up? Because there's somebody hauling ass down the service road. My exit is coming up. I think that might be the distribution center over on the left. It's a big facility. But yeah, while we were sitting there talking, the other driver was like, he doesn't have any mud flap. He's missing a mud flap. I had my back turned to the road, so I turned around and looked, and I was like, yeah, he's missing both mud flaps, and he had some other stuff wrong with the truck. I can't remember. Oh, no, this isn't the one I want. I want 480, not 481. No, that must not have been the Walmart distribution center, because we haven't gotten to where it starts yet. That's the R&L Carriers facility. Got pedestrian. There's the Walmart distribution center over to the left. But yeah, that was a little embarrassing to see one of our fellow Landstar drivers driving around without mud flaps, and their APU was missing all of the coverings. I don't think that's any kind of violation. That's just, it looks tacky. And they were just, there was a lot of stuff missing from their truck. The driver that I was talking to for like a half an hour, he said that this was his first load with Landstar. I think he said it was his first load with Landstar. He said that he had been going through the qualification process for a long time. I can't remember exactly how long he said, a month or two. This guy is backing up. This pickup truck looks like they missed their turn or something. I thought he was turning into my lane. I was slamming on the brakes. Um, but yeah, he said he just bought the truck. There's a turn lane there, but I did not get into it, so I could give that Walmart truck there plenty of room to make that turn. I don't have a pause button. Yeah, it's an empty. I don't have any paperwork. I'm just bringing it down from Paul's Valley. Yes. Pull up to what? Yeah. What's that? Okay. All right. Had to go take the lock off so they could look inside the trailer. I don't know why they would inspect the trailer coming in that's empty. Like, you'd think that they would be more concerned with leaving with an empty trailer than coming in with an empty trailer. Whenever I left Paul's Valley, they didn't have me open up and make sure that the trailer was empty. All right, I'm actually going to have to stop and look at my map to figure out where in the hell R is at. All right, R is around the other side of the building. This guy's driving like a fucking maniac. My thing's beeping at me for not having my seatbelt on. We're going to throw it back on for a minute. I'm going to have to take it back off once I get to the spot where I'm trying to park at. You're always supposed to give right of way to the yard dogs. They own this place. So much space. So much room to get parked. All right. Got to figure out how much room I've got on both sides. Get lined up center on this space. Make sure I get the landing gear on the concrete. Second here, I got to write down a whole bunch of crap. All right, sorry, I'm just writing down the time. All right, now I might as well just go ahead and stop the video because it's going to be a lot of dead time while I get out and disconnect the trailer and everything, and then I got to drive over to dispatch. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. I probably should have ended it a few minutes ago, but uh, hope you're having a good one. Bye.